Welcome to Make Your Own Fun. I'm here with comedian and writer and producer Jason Ritchey, man. Welcome to the show. Oh my God, man, it has been a minute. Oh my God, dude,
Let me give you some. Yeah, I know, right? It has been a while, hasn't it? Let me
like
give
three
me
years or
some
something
more.
crazy?
Something
Damn.
like that, I think. Uh, but we still alive.
Oh hell yeah, man. Oh
We
man.
still
Like the Bee Gees,
alive.
staying alive. All right, so catch me up on the last couple of years, man, because so many people are out there complaining about the economy, and I'm definitely one of them. So in like the Indianapolis, like Chicago area, have you seen like more clubs like opening up, more open mics? Is there stuff like opening up, like new stuff?
Um, you know, I'm trying to give you the best. There we go. I think that's better.
That's
Um, uh, actually, it's weird, man. It's like as one closes, another one opens up. So, like in Indianapolis, for example. We had something. What was it? Something went away. Gutties was a clean comedy club, went away, and we had something called Red, no, Brick Room, and that went away, and now we got a newer comedy club that's popped up kind of in their place, but it's been run by comedians, so it's kind of cool that we got some newer spots popping up. So it's like there are a lot of venues, um, and there are a lot of comedy happening in random places. So I don't know, man. It's kind of a weird. I don't know how to really explain it, but it's like a weird balance. Like it's waves and balance. I don't know. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's a weird thing to try to explain, but like it does seem like as one goes, another one kind of comes in its place, and that's kind of cool. It's not necessarily comedy clubs per se though. There are
okay.
more venues popping up than there have been in the past. So it's still growing, especially
Good.
in Indianapolis for sure.
I'm glad to hear that,
That
man.
was a long way to that was a long way to say, yeah, it's growing.
But yeah, man, like, last time you were on, like, we were talking about like all the after effects of COVID and everything closing down. And I know like so many places went out of business. And I'm just hoping like in this area where, I'm at now in South Carolina, like with the hurricane and everything, it just got so devastated. So it's real slow for stuff to open
Yeah, I heard.
up. And, some open mics, they're kind of scared. They're like, well, if we're charging people to get in for a club, it's like, are people going to show up? Are they going to spend the money? Are they going to pay for an admission, like on top of drinks and food? So, yeah, I was just trying to see if that was the same way in your area.
Yeah, a lot of the venues, comedy, it's easier for comedy to happen when in a venue where it's not food. And so because you don't have to worry about the drink staff and stuff like that. But at the same time, people when they come to my shows, always like, is it gonna be food? So it's like a weird balance that you gotta kind of work and trying to satisfy your crowd and trying to make sure that you can um provide them with a low cost or cost effective comedy shows, because I
It's
noticed that in some of the venues that's the way to go. Like they don't have no food, but they got a hell of a bar, they got a hell of a drink menu, but and you can get some chips or
it's
it's
almost
something
like the
that you
host
wouldn't
is telling
really
you
eat
before you
at
go up on stage, man. They're like, man, tell them that place across the street is open till like 11, so they don't leave in the middle of the show and be like, man, I'm sorry, man,
well
I
they
gotta eat. I gotta eat sometime.
yeah,
That's good.
you kind of gotta start telling people like eat before you come if they want to drink, because a lot of time they want to drink at a comedy show. So it's weird, but
Man, it is what it is,
I
man.
mean,
But
I get it. No, I get it as a consumer though.
yeah, I gotta ask you this too, because this is something that's been going on. And so you're out there in the trenches, you're doing the shows. does it feel like we finally turned a corner on all this crazy like taboo crap and like bullshit with cancel culture where it's like a comedian's allowed to be funny? It's like there was this time like you know what I'm saying though? There was like this couple of years where it was like people were so afraid. They're like, oh, you can't talk about this, or you can't use too much profanity over here, or people are gonna come after you, and like there's like all these, off limits things, and it's just like people weren't even making like R-rated comedy movies for a while because it was just like, well, why would I do that if they're gonna not even advertise our show or our movie, you know?
Well, I mean, I think that uh it's a lot people are brave, pretty we got a lot of brave comedians out there, man, and that's really what comedy is rooted in, is taking them chances on stage, not really worrying about pandering to the crowd, but just doing what you wanted to do and not worrying about it because the people who like what you do gonna gravitate towards you. So um I think it's always kind of been like, if funny is funny. And no matter what the fuck it is, like if it's something that uh is is taboo, if you can make it funny, then it's funny. I think we might even talked about this before, like you said, but like even like that Chris Rock doing the Boston Marathon bombing joke, like you wouldn't think it was funny until you heard it, and then you be like, okay, all right, I see what he
You're
did
like,
there.
all right, I see where
That's
you're coming
tasteful.
from.
All
Yeah,
right, I thought, yeah, yeah, because when you tell somebody like, did you hear the Boston bombing joke? You like, what? And then when you hear
how
it, you're
dare
like,
he?
oh,
Yeah,
good job, good show, Chris Rock.
yeah. Well done, sir. Well
So
done.
it's always been like, if long as long as you're not trying to be a fucking like a shock comic, that's never been funny to me, and I don't think it'll ever really be funny to um, the masses. Like
Oh
that's
yeah.
a niche
Oh
type of
yeah.
thing, and so like uh, it's an acquired taste.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shock comics out there, and I'm
If
sure
you
you've
like
seen
that,
too, where it's like whatever the big horrible tragedy is, they'll say it, they'll get the clickbait, online, and then they'll do that lame
yeah,
tag that everybody does, which is always like, "Oh, too soon." Well, yeah, asshole, if you have to put that in the your delivery, probably, man. Like you're probably, you don't
they
want to be telling like 9/11 stuff, man. It's like, come on, man. You gotta yeah, I don't know. There's a place for everything, but I don't know.
typically they the ones that's gonna go for the low hanging fruit. They're not gonna make a good joke, or they're gonna pick the the corniest or the most common thing, like right now, what is it, Diddy? They're gonna make Diddy jokes.
Because it's just there
Or
and just
they're gonna make
take it right
Donald
down.
Trump jokes.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's
it's
there, just
Donald,
take it right
like,
down.
yeah, like that's what's easy to talk about, but at the same time you can make these jokes and they still be worth something or be funny. It's just like, no, they the ones, it'd be the shock comments and that do the corny stuff too sometimes. Like, it's just right there though.
Well, yeah, and it's like they want to do it, and then want to get the clicks, and they want to get the views, and then 5 days, a week, a month, no one's talking about that person anymore because it's just like, well, it wasn't a well-crafted, well thought out thing, and it was just the shock value, and we're over it, and we're on to the next thing. But I gotta ask you this
Yeah.
because I know I asked you this last time, but I think you've had more experience with crowds, even more now. So, have you had
What's
hecklers
that, Eric?
or drunken assholes try to be part of the show? Has anybody ever got up and been like trying to get up on stage or just yell stuff out to you?
I've never had anybody try to get up on stage and do like some crazy shit or try to smack me like Chris Rock got slapped. Again, here goes Chris Rock again. I'm so sorry, Chris Rock. I
Man,
think
I don't
you're a
give it a lot of
really
time to
great
Chris.
comedian. I think he's one of the greatest comedians ever. Uh but
Hands down, yeah.
and then coincidentally, I gotta say this again. Sorry, Chris Rock, but thank you, Chris Rock, because coincidentally, I was heckled in a good way by somebody, but they were saying stuff like, "You the next Chris Rock, you the next Martin Lawrence," and I'm like, "Oh my God, just shut up!" Like, thank you, bro, but like, shut the fuck
You're
up!
like,
Like, oh my God. Yeah, I'm just like, man, can I finish the show? I'm having to try to be nice about it because usually you just cut into a heckler. But I've had people always gonna yell stuff out. And so if it's, within reason, then I try to, improvise and, do that. But I haven't had no angry people like, I don't like what you're saying. Like I haven't had any people like that or anybody that had to be escorted out. Any weird stuff like extreme stuff like that. But I commend those who do have to deal with those people and deal with that in the most uh comedic and intelligent way. Because I'm just yell at your ass. I'm gonna curse you out and say the worst thing I can say to you. Because I'm like, why you come up here to do this? Why did you pay to come to the comedy show to act wild and crazy? Like this, you paid to come see you do this? Like, what did you?
you
What are
know it's
you?
going to
What
be on
was?
YouTube, or maybe that's what they want. I don't know. But let me ask you this, because as somebody who has work online, I I'm seeing more stuff where a lot of comedians they're only posting their crowd work. They're only posting that give and take. They don't want to give out part of their set. They don't want to give out their jokes. So what a lot of people I've seen do is they just have that 2 minute exchange with somebody in the crowd, and they're just like, oh, you came with her? Like, oh, that's a crazy hat. And it's not like their jokes or their stories or what they're trying to do. They're only posting like their interaction with the crowd. Have you noticed that more too?
I have noticed that. I think because some comedians have gained great notoriety from doing that. Um, that's because they're really good at it, though.
Yeah.
You know, who was that? What was his name? Rick Ingram, and uh, like Nate Jackson. Uh, like that's just an example of a couple people who just really good at crowd work. All right, these is some crowd work comics that just like that's just what they do.
Yeah.
But then you got the average comic seeing that and them getting great success or getting views off of that, and so they like, all right, this the thing to do. This is the thing to do. So, I'm not even here to judge anybody who doing one way or the other because I don't know. Don't nobody know what we supposed to be doing and what's the best thing to do. They just see something that's working and then they try to run with that formula. And so that's what it is. It's more so people seeing something that they think is working
Yeah.
and they posting it. I don't think it's so much of even posting they set because well, if they did, then they wouldn't post very much probably because, some people do the same set a lot. Shoot, you got a
Yeah.
certain
They're like, I only have 10 jokes. You know,
yeah.
some people
And
who only have like 20 minutes material, and that's fine. I mean, if you're
some
just
people
starting out, you don't want to do your whole act on YouTube, and then people are like, why would I come to the show if I can watch it for free on YouTube, you know?
yeah, and that's the weird thing, and that's why don't nobody know what they're doing because you got like a lot of people that don't like, I mean, as far as audience that don't want to come out to the shows. And the way they consume comedy is via TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. So that's what make people feel like they got to do that and put this stuff out.
Yeah.
So it's a weird line to walk, and I like I said, I understand why they're doing it. We all just trying to figure out what works and how to best connect with our audience. So I don't throw shade to nobody because clearly I ain't doing this shit right. I got 2,000 followers who I love all of y'all dearly. Or 3,000 on Facebook or something. So I appreciate the ones that rock with me, because they clearly understand that like he ain't gonna keep putting out just some bullshit just to keep up with the Joneses, and because I feel like I'm doing my crowd a disservice because I'm not putting out stuff every 2 seconds like everybody else. But again, that's not what I do.
That's right.
Maybe
And everybody's
maybe
got to be different. Let me ask you
Yeah,
this.
maybe I'm
So,
like Outkast or something, and I put out an album once every 20 years or something like
and
that.
people are waiting for it and they're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, so
So
I'm with them.
have you ever started a set from in the crowd or from like the back area where the people don't really know what's going on? I know people would call that like being like a saloon comedian or a saloon poet or something where you start from somewhere else than the stage and come through. Even like maybe they didn't even announce you because I know some people have tried that and it's like some people can pull it off because it's like if you can do that thing and make people whip their head around and all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is the show. But some people are like, nah, man, I want that MC to introduce me. I need that spotlight. I need that little stool with my glass of water or my beer or whatever on it.
Oh, I know what you're saying. Well, you mean kind of like starting it in an unorthodox way?
Yeah.
Um, you know what? I used to do that when I was first starting out, but then I realized that people not really keen to what the hell you doing, and it looked crazy because the average person has not been to a comedy show before, or I ain't gonna say the average person, but like a large percentage of the crowd at most shows have never been to a comedy show, so they don't know what's going on. They don't know what to expect. So for me to come rappelling down from the rafters like fucking Tom Cruise on Mission Impossible on their first go around, this is their first rodeo, and they like, what's happening? Are we getting robbed? Like, what? So yeah, you can't really, in my opinion, my humble opinion. I don't think that's the best way to start a show. I want them to know exactly what the hell is going on. Don't start talking and getting up. Silence all cell phones and pages, like the standard shaboom shebang. With like you said, with the mic stand in the stool, because that's the only tools that we got. So I like to maximize the instruments that I can use on stage if because I'm physical sometimes or a lot of times. So if I can make something out of that, or I'm doing space work with those
Yeah. I'm
things.
trying to
Then
remember, God, this was going way back, but maybe it was a Comedy Central thing. I think I saw Donald Glover do where they introduced him and then it was like you heard this voice and it was going through all the credits of the people that worked on the show and got to be like the camera people and it's like nothing on stage and the people in the crowd are just like this. And then he came from the back of the auditorium and it was him. He was doing all the announcing and all the
yeah,
voices. And then they were like, oh shit, well, this is part of the show. And he got up there
yeah.
and he's like, I'm winded, man. There's a lot of motherfuckers that worked on the show.
And you
But
know what though? But that's a comedy special though. So like I think that most people not going to their first comedy show as a comedy special, but if they are, then they know it's a comedy show because it's
yeah,
like a big thing. It's a theatrical feel. It's like big. So I
right.
would think that they would expect that to be part of the show.
Plus, it's
But
like he's playing more to the camera. I mean, he's playing to the crowd. He's standing in front of a crowd, but he knows he's being filmed. He's playing to the camera. He knows where
yeah,
all the cameras are. And then they work all that stuff out ahead of time with the director and all that. So
yeah, if I'm doing sketches or showing sketches or something like that, I might do like a live intro or something like that, or like that. But I'm not doing that on the average. Me just going up on stage, um, unless I work that out. Me personally, I'm not doing that really. But I can't say I won't in the future. I figure it can be done. Eric Andre does stuff like that, so it can be done. So.
Yeah, I mean, plus also you don't want to burn through all your energy in the first 2 minutes of your show, and then like that the last 15 minutes of the show, you're just like, okay, gotta pace
I
myself.
mean, yeah, if you're doing 6 shows, in between 6 to 9 shows on a weekend, then I could see how that could be potentially problematic.
Let me ask you this. So, if you're working on a project or you're trying to explain something you want to try to show either to like a venue you haven't been to before, like a host, or even something like a short film or whatever, and you're trying to explain your idea, and it's a new idea, and you only have like little nuggets of stuff, and then you're trying to explain how things are going to happen, where they're going to come from. You ever get that reaction from somebody when they're just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, yes. That's when I realized I had to become better at explaining stuff. And you got to explain stuff to everybody like they're a child. Not saying that you got to treat people like children,
Right.
but that you just got to really speak as simplistic as possible, use as much layman's terms as possible, and then speak very clearly because uh, you're the only one that had the thought. You're the only one that had the idea. So anything that's truly original is gonna sound crazy because it's never been seen before. People gonna be like,
Right.
"What the hell is that?" Like that's not possible until you show people that it's possible. And so that's why I understand that so vividly. I think about it as having a child because even with my son, I gotta be very specific and make sure and very thorough in what I say because if I leave something out, then it's not going to. I haven't conveyed it properly to him, and it's not. He's not going to see the same thing I saw, and it's the same thing with somebody else with a comedic idea. They're not going. It's too wild. A lot of time, whatever I'm coming
They're
up with,
like,
it's too wild. You never, yeah. So I'm like, all right, just hear me out. But even not even just hear me out, just like you gotta see it, or I gotta kind of show them a little preview of it a little bit sometimes for them to fully be like, oh, okay, it's gonna be okay.
yeah,
But up
oh, and
until
now maybe
then,
as a proof of concept. Oh, okay.
and I'm working, and I got to tell you, I'm working on a project where I didn't know how, like, it sounded like some crazy shit in the script, and then when we were filming it, I'm like, oh, now it makes sense. Okay, I told you I was just gonna let you have faith and let you do what it do, and I was just gonna say okay when you said do this in action. So
I've done stuff like that before where I've explained it to people, and then they are politely letting me just roll out my whatever, my bullshit, just explanation. At the end, they're like, so I guess we'll just let you be a jackass and we'll fix it. I'm like, yeah, all right. Because it's like, you know what I mean? Like you can try until you're blue in the face to explain something to
hmm
somebody and they're just doing one of these things, or they're like, or they're, like, oh, so okay. But I've had
but
the
you
same experience that you were talking about. Like I remember when my daughter was younger trying to explain stuff to her, and man, I never believed it until my parents told me, they're like, yeah, wait till she gets to be about 5, 6, 7. And then not only is she gonna say why, but then she's gonna start to get to develop the personality and get a little bit older and be like, why? And then the kid will wait, and you're like, oh my God, I do have to explain this. Like, oh my God, I have
yes,
to make it make
that's the
sense
most
to her
important
and
part.
not to me.
That's the
Oh my
most
God.
important part. Oh man, because otherwise you're just saying a bunch of stuff like, uh, make sure you got some. I don't know if you heard this when you was a kid. There's some black shit, but my mom I always used to say, make sure you got some clean pair of underwear on when you leave the house, because, just in case something happened. They find you on the side of the road somewhere. We don't want to find you with a streak in your draw somewhere. I'm like,
Bacon strips
that's
in
what
the
you
underwear.
that's what you worried about? Like,
Of all the things, about
not
all
my
the bad
not
stuff in the world.
not my untimely demise. This is like,
Right.
damn, he died with
Not you
shitty
walking
with a
through traffic,
he
not
died
something
with a
awful happening
shitty
at
booty.
school. Not getting kidnapped at the mall or whatever. It's like, you better wear some clean drawers.
Yeah, it's the weird that so yeah, if you don't make it make sense, it just sounds crazy. So and that's how I know I think that I sound crazy when I'm telling it to my kids. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I was saying that.
Because we only
I
have
gotta
our experience. Like when we were kids, I'm sure your parents were the same way, man, where it's like, never ever tell your parents you're bored, especially on a weekend.
Yes,
I'm
yes, my mom.
bored. Oh,
I
yeah?
was just
Go outside. Go outside. But I
oh
go outside. There's a whole world out there. But now it's like, go outside. And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, like outside the house, like get out of the apartment, like go out. There's a park. There's like so much you can do. Like, okay. And it's like, man, no social skills. I'm so worried about these kids,
dude.
man. It's like,
That's
there's no,
that's so funny.
it's
That's
true,
so
man.
funny.
Like
No,
last
it
time you
is.
went to a department store, have you ever asked some girl, like you're walking around somewhere and you're like, hey, these things I'm looking for are on sale and they're supposed to be like a display in aisle 12. Have you seen it? And she's like, ah, that's great. Okay, I know it's
Just tuning you
great.
out.
I know it's super and awesome and everything, and there's probably a Taylor Swift song about it, but can you guide me toward like you have any in the back? And she's like, uh-huh. I'm like, oh no, you didn't.
Oh my goodness.
You've
Can
had
you
that
see me?
experience, man, where you've gone and then like, why do the people in the store start looking 12 years old? You're like, I'm getting old,
Yes,
man.
yes, no help at all. But my mom, I was just saying this, like my mom is definitely like that. Like she was the one that if you say you was bored, she'd be like, I got something for you to do. I got
Oh
a
yeah.
project for you. And then find some obscure thing for me to clean. Like go sweep on the roof or something like that. Like something go vacuum underneath the rug.
The
Underneath the carpet.
underside of the towel or the rug.
Under the no, pull the staples out of the carpet, lift it up, peel it back, and then vacuum, and then put it back down.
Here's one for you. Here's one for you. My first job when I was like 16, 17, working at this grocery store, I had this one assistant manager, and we were all just working on stuff, bagging groceries or stocking shelves. And if it was slow, man, you'd hear that keys jingle on the side of the belt coming around the corner. You're like, fuck. And he'd come like just like appear out of somewhere, out of corner around the corner, and he'd be like, all right, fellas, you got time to lean. You got time to clean. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Every
That
time, man.
I could definitely relate to that.
But you know what? Like the kids now, it's like they don't even want to tell them that because everyone's so afraid of lawsuits. Like, you can't tell my child to what, do their job?
Yeah.
It's
Oh my
crazy.
God. They need to stop hiring them. Nah, they have. It seems like they stopped hiring these kids. Every place is hiring, but nobody is actually hiring new people. Like they're not bringing new people on. There's always a sign, but they're not hiring actual people.
You
I
know
don't
what though? For
understand.
the stores and the restaurants and stuff, they're not hiring kids a lot, but I feel like the kids that are leaving high school and stuff now, they're going like straight into marketing. They're going straight into what they know from a phone or a laptop to just, I saw this online. Now I can make money at it. And they're just, a lot of those people have somehow figured out how to get over that food service thing. I had to go through all that for years and years, but different world,
I'm,
man.
I mean, if it works, I mean, if it works for them, I'm not a hater if they figured out the secret
Hey,
to the South. So I want to know how to do it
oh,
too.
you found this bag of money? Oh, well, you shouldn't keep it for yourself. You should share it with everybody. And some people are just like, well, should I? Oh, man, you keep the bag of money.
All right, teach me how to get rich, little kids.
Right? Oh, man. So, okay, so marketing. I gotta ask you, because man, I feel like every year, every month, it gets more and more, as we all do our self-promotion, man. So, how much time do you figure like a week that you get online and you advertise your shows, your YouTube, your Instagram? Like, is it hours a week?
Me personally, admittedly, no, it's not as what it should be. So that's what I was saying. I'm like, for the people who are always on there all the time and posting stuff, and you like, this is stupid. Why did they post it? I'm like, Well, at least they posting it because I scrutinize over the stuff that I post, and I don't like to post just any old thing. So for me, I I start to post stuff a lot, and then I'm like, this is stupid. I'm not posting this. Like, I'm not. What is this? What is this doing? What am I doing? What does this do for me? What is it
Yeah.
like? I start thinking about it too much, and then like the stuff, like if it's just a post with just like words, I'm like, okay, that's a joke. I can make that a joke. Okay, I'm gonna write, and then I start writing the joke, and so I never post the post. But
Like this is too good for the internet.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah. I'm like, why would I waste this online? And then you might not even get my full intention, and maybe it's an act out or something I need to do too. That it just all came to me that way. But I don't post enough, and so I don't know what the secret to the sauce is. I'm really starting to. I think I understand it as you need to post as much as the algorithm will allow you to, because this magical algorithm,
It's true. It's
it,
sad, but it's true.
it's weird, man, because you could have some real gold and then post it and then it'll get missed or it'll get pushed to the
What is it that
bottom.
they say? It's like the
Like
golden
three posts.
time, Monday through Friday is like 10 a.m. So for me, on the East Coast now, if I wanted people on the West Coast to watch it at their job, their break time, their 10 o'clock break
Yeah.
time or whatever, I have to wait till 1 o'clock my time on my lunch break or whatever. So they'll see it at 10 a.m. because that's what the algorithm is like. This is when the most people, I'm like, man, people have jobs, they have lives.
That right. Does it work? Have you tried this?
I've just on my lunch break, I'll have a Instagram post ready to go, and then I'm on my lunch break, and then at like 1 o'clock, if I'm sitting there, I'll upload it then, and then people on the West Coast at 10 a.m. see it. Because it's like if I do it too early, because sometimes I have to just post stuff before I leave the house just so I can
Yeah.
get it all up. And then it's like it'll sit there, like it'll have 10, 20, 30 views. But then if I put out like a digital flyer, if I make something on Canva and then I upload that Instagram flyer later in the day, that's the only time people, oh, well, you put out a story on Instagram and I, blah, 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 saw your story. I didn't know you'd already posted something on YouTube. And man, it's tiring. It's exhausting to link all that crap together, like your Facebook, your Instagram. I had to stop doing TikTok because it got to be the point where I'm like, no one gives a shit about what I have for lunch, man. Why am I putting 15 seconds out there? Because it's like, oh, you gotta have the clickbait. You gotta have something. Because those kids, the teenagers and the college students, they do the dead scroll. They just, you know, they're like, ha 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 ha. And watch, that looks fun.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha
And
ha.
you put in hours of work on this video.
And they watch, and then it's like if like most of my interview videos are like 35, 40 minutes long. It's like if I didn't put, I started putting these little like 30-second intro clips, like what I was talking to you about, because anymore, if you don't do that, if it's just the people talking like this, people are like, eh. Because kids, I don't know what they have to have the flashing lights, they have to have music. It's like if you
ADD,
don't
man.
hook them, they're like, meh.
Even adults in this generation, this is like you just said, we TikTok. So the adults are watching TikTok, man. It's been like that since Vine.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised, but I can't keep up.
No, man. I mean, and
So
I can only really do a lot of stuff on the weekend. Like sometimes I get home and it's like I'm like a 40-minute drive from where I work. So sometimes I get home and I'm like, man, fuck it. I have nothing left in the tank. I got to do some stuff around the apartment. Next thing I know, I'm watching something and I'm eating something. I'm like, man, I don't feel funny. I don't feel like, I mean,
yeah.
we got to make ourselves do it. Like you got like shows to promote and you got like stuff where, you got to get the word out there. So,
So the show for me, what's so weird is like the shows is the easiest thing for me to promote. Like I like promoting the shows. So I'm like, just give me the flyer and I will put it on anything I can put it on. If they put my face on it or they put my name on it, I put it on whatever they could put it on. All I ask is that they spell my name right. But because I'm like, you got Instagram, Facebook. Twitter, and you can see how to spell my name.
You're like, wait a
There's no
minute, there's
reason.
like six platforms and you spelled my name wrong on every single one of them because you just cut and pasted this thing into like everything. So people are like,
Yeah. You
man,
can copy and paste my name at the top of my Instagram page or whatever. It's okay. But um yeah, the shows are the easiest ones for me because it's not it's content, but it's not content. I'm like, all I gotta do is be funny at the show.
there you go.
I know how to be funny at the show,
Yeah.
but I don't know how to get this information to y'all because I thought it was just if I posted it on here, then you could see it. But people are like, how come you didn't send me that show? Hey, how come you tell me you had a show? And I'm like, I did when I put it online publicly. I thought, but
Yeah, it's like the the consumer too. Like they only look at stuff when it's convenient for them. So if you're not on a bill with like three, four other people, like maybe one other person that they know, then they don't think to look. It's like crazy, man. Like sometimes I'm reposting like a flyer for something, like maybe twice a day, and only on that second time will somebody get back to me that I haven't heard from a while, like, oh man, when did you start doing this? I'm like, my podcast? Oh, like 4 years ago. And they're like, no shit. Like, yeah, man, we
mhm.
just talked about it like a couple weeks ago. Oh, we did? I guess we did. Yeah,
And then
man.
if you get and then if you post too much, the algorithm will push you down or block it or something to where it's like, all right, this is spam. It recognizes it spam kind of and nobody sees it. It's like shadow banning or something, shadow blocking or something is what they call it.
Man, we live in
So
the
it's
world of AI, and that stuff really freaks me out as a
yeah,
creative person, where it's like, I'm worried about like scripts being generated by AI, artwork, paintings. Like they think that these things now are that the bots they'll call you, and
yeah,
they'll get a clip of your voice, and then that's how people are using voice recognition to do like bank transfers and stuff.
yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God.
That's terrifying in itself as far as like the identity theft aspect of it. But here's what I say to that, because I was saying that too, and I think that's why they went ahead and released like the AI stuff. I do think it's gonna get out of hand as far as AI in general, but I think that's why they kind of fell back on that with Hollywood because, well, I don't think that Hollywood realized it, but maybe somebody realized it. Maybe the creatives realized that like, man, we fucking humans, man. We fucking smarter than these machines, dog. We made the machines. Like they don't have this.
That's
They
right.
can't just make something out of nothing.
They can't
So
pivot and be creative
yeah,
and improvise.
yeah, so it's like you can make a million calculators, but don't we still got fucking accountants? Don't we still got bankers? Like people still gotta put the numbers in, like they gotta make it make sense. So that's why I'm like, we'll never get away from real writers. It's just gonna challenge us to evolve to be that much better, I
Yeah, bring
think.
up the game.
Because then yeah, because I think whatever the AI can develop will become the low-hanging fruit or the easy jokes.
That's
And then
true.
we are the ones who have to evolve and say, all right, I can think of something even more complex than that.
Right. Well, like
I'm
a
a
good
fucking human,
example,
bro.
yeah, a good example of that is like a host of a award show or something like the Golden Globes or whatever, where the AI person the machine could create what's coming up on the teleprompter, but a good host is going to be able to pivot and get a reaction of somebody in the crowd, and then they can riff on that a little bit. The
Improvise,
machine could
yep.
never do that.
Yeah, and I mean, and who's to say maybe it can one day, but like I just maybe I got too much faith in people. I just feel like I'm smart enough. And I ain't the smartest person in the world. And I ain't the smartest person that will ever be. So I feel like we'll figure it out. It's just uh we can't let the fucking machines learn how to learn.
It really
You
does turn
can't
into the Terminator, man. Somewhere,
just
somebody's looking at
you can
James
make it a
Cameron. He's like, "I
program.
told you."
Yeah, you could make a robot, man, but you can't make a robot to just keep learning. That's the stupidest thing you can do.
Because you know why? Because people are lazy by nature. We all are. We
Yeah,
all want the
yeah.
simple thing. We want to relax. We want more downtime. We want more free time. And it's like you
And
start making automated things with conveyor belts, and the machines make the cars, they make the phones, they make the computers. After a while, we're just like kicking it back and just like, well, how much
and,
less can I do?
and above all, humans are horny.
That's true.
So they want to make something they can fuck without having to without having to ask. They just want to turn it on when they turned on.
We want blow up dolls that don't give us sass whenever we walk
That's
into the
it.
room. Like,
That's
what do you mean, how was my day? I'm like, okay, okay, calm the fuck down. All right.
it. Oh man, that's all it is.
Oh man.
People
Okay, so
tired of.
going back to what we were talking about earlier, because I want to pick your brain about this. If somebody was to come to you and say, "Hey man, we want you to do a Netflix special, 60 minutes
Mhm.
long," where would you record it? And what's something you would do different to make it stand out? Do you already have that in your mind if you ever got that offer?
If nobody never, you know what? As I'm saying it, as I'm saying it, or as you're saying it, if I ever got the opportunity to do that, and somebody came to me and said they want to do that, I would say, okay, I want to do it different. This is the first time I'm saying this, bro. This is like nobody's never heard me say this before, and I don't even know if I want to say it now. See, this is what we was talking about earlier. I had such a good idea. I'm like, I don't
Man, you
even
don't
put this
have
shit
to
out
do
there.
that. You don't have to put it out there. I'm just was like wanted to pick your brain. Damn,
But
I didn't know it was gonna be like revolutionary. Like,
I didn't know this.
oh
Yeah, I didn't know
shit.
this was gonna be like brainstorming. Like, yeah, like for me, it's just like, man, that's a really good idea because you think about it for so long. You're like, I want to do it like this. I want to do it like this, and I'm like, wait a minute, this might be perfect. But what was the question? I'm sorry. What would I do?
Yeah, yeah. Like, do you know like what theater or venue you would record it at or want to do it at if they let you
Oh,
pick anywhere and how you would do it?
I never thought about the venue. If it was a bigger venue, man, I never thought about the venue because my mind just goes to stadiums because I watch basketball. So I'm like, I want to do it at the United Center in Chicago, but I'm like, would it be good? I don't know. It's just the best place that would be conducive to a good show,
Yeah.
is what I would say. And I don't have anything offhand. And it's just all about who would be willing to put on that type of show. But no, offhand, I don't have anything. I think there are a lot of good venues, but I would want to do it in Chicago for sure. And
Okay.
one in Chicago. I would want to do one in Indianapolis too.
Do you have any holy grail like all-time venues that you would ever want to play that like you've seen comedians play before like the Forum in LA or like Madison Square Garden or just those like pie in the sky places where you're like, man, if I ever got up to that level I want just so I can check that box.
I mean,
You
I
wouldn't say
think every,
no.
I think every, I think every, I thought again, maybe it's because I just watch basketball, but I'm like, what? Yeah, like you said, Madison Square Garden, like, come on, man, like that's well renowned as far as performances, and for what I know, uh, all the performers or athletes have really good shows or really good performances at Madison Square Garden typically. So I'm like, I wonder if it will go to. I hope it will go the same for me. Like
I
all
think
the
it
greats
would.
do it.
I don't know about trying
Um,
to do one in like what's the one in Vegas? The Sphere. I don't that just seems like so much media going on around you at all times. I know they've had bands there. I don't know if they've had comedians or solo
that would be
performers.
cool.
That's just
That
so
would be
much going
cool.
on all around you though.
That would be cool. That would be one where I would try to. I would like that would be a good idea, man. See, look, you on my team. You on the staff because then I could do like the weird intro, the weird opening because I got this big ass screen around me. I could figure out something creative to do with it. So that's a good one. I think the Sphere is on my list now. Thank you, Eric.
Check that off. Okay,
Mm-mm-mm.
so let's go with this because I know we were just talking about this. So with shrinking attention spans, okay, like TikToks is where it's at, but where is it going next? Like, are we gonna do even shorter and shorter video things now, or it's basically gonna be like screaming, your name at the bottom of the screen, and then like the sponsor, like Eric Lawson, and then see or whatever, where it's like not even 2 seconds, and then like man, that was the best video I've ever fucking seen.
That's a really good that's another good idea. I told you,
It's
you're
so
hired.
dumb, but because it's just
I don't
like
know.
getting the attention.
I don't know, man. I think the no, I think we about to go opposite, man. I think we about to go opposite like that movie, what was it, Boyhood or whatever, where they followed the kids from when they was kids all the way till they was adult. They filmed them from when they was kids to adult. Like I think that's the type of stuff we want to see now. We can be like, I want this kid to be in 17 different films, but piece by piece as they age, so I could see them really growing up in the movie instead of them trying to simulate it with AI.
I
I want to
mean,
see.
I just feel lazy now because I know what you're talking about, and I just think like, man, I don't even have commitment to sometimes fill out a grocery list or whatever. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm at the store, I'm like, I just can't, man. I'm just too fucking tired. And to
Know what
know
it
that they
is?
had commitment to make that movie over what, 10, 12 years, and I'm just like, man, I can't do that. That's
You
just
know what it is?
commitment.
It's that we got too many options.
It's true.
That's it. Because when it was just TV, like you had to be there at a certain time at a certain place. You could only see it at that time. It was no they were started doing reruns after a while, but like you had to be there pretty
Oh
much.
yeah, like I remember when I was a kid, if I wanted to hear Mr. T say "I pity the fool," I had to watch NBC on a certain night at a certain time and sit there for the whole episode. I'm like, oh, he's gonna say it.
He's gonna
Gonna
say it,
mess
right?
DA is gonna mess somebody up and say, "I pity the fool." But it's like now it's like it's on YouTube whenever you want to watch anything. But yeah, it's that appointment TV, man. Like
So
used to
that's
be
why
that
nobody
thing.
so that's why nobody cares about whatever you put out because they're like, yeah, I'll get to it. And then guess what they'll do too? This is what
And
they'll
that
do
makes
too,
me sad
bro.
as somebody who makes movies and short films like you
Me
do, where
too.
it's like
Yeah.
man, those big budget things where it's like, I don't know what the behind the scenes negotiations are, but you're just like, sometimes that stuff goes straight to streaming and you're like, there's no way they could ever recoup that money because straight to streaming, it's like, and you know this too, if something is playing in the movie theater and it's popular, you're more likely to want to watch it on streaming because you heard about it, you saw it, you enjoyed it. But straight to streaming, man, I think we
And
got spoiled during COVID. It was just like we all became gerbils or something, man.
we just on a what it is you gonna permanently be as new media is coming out, the backlog is increasing of shit that people gotta watch. And you know how many times people come to somebody during a work day and they like, dude, did you watch this thing on Netflix? Did you watch this thing on Hulu? And then they explain it all to them, and then they're like, that sounds good. I gotta watch that. And now and now something else added to your fucking queue of things that you need to watch. And guess what? It's the same thing with the stuff they see on the internet. They like, oh, look like a funny video, but it's 3 minutes. Oh,
Ugh,
I'll
that
watch
took
it.
as long as
I,
a song.
I'll watch it later. Yeah, and I'll watch it later. And then they'll come to you. They never watch it,
Never watch
and
it.
they'll come to you at work or wherever the fuck you at, and say, "You put out a video, didn't you? I saw that you put out a video.
And you're like, son
I
of a
saw
bitch.
that you put out a video." So that's why
Tell me about
Facebook.
your
That's
video.
why.
I don't have to
That,
watch it,
Yeah, tell
asshole.
me about it. And then that's why Facebook and them start making the videos automatically play.
Oh yeah,
So you
yeah.
can
I mean,
increase your
I
chance.
want to make a website, and I'll put this idea out there. I know people are going to steal it, but whatever. And I've started to do it on my YouTube, but I don't think people understood the concept. So I need to maybe make a website where it's like Dave and Buster's Chuck E. Cheese, where it's like a console with a bright red button on the website, and the finger comes down and pushes the button, and it's called Be Funny Now. And it's going to be a little clip of just something, could just be me wearing a dog costume, could be just somebody poking somebody with a stick. It's just a little thing, and it's like, oh man, I've had a crap day. I'm gonna go click on it, be funny now. Ah, I got my little release, my little 10-second
Yeah.
laugh. It's stupid, but it's
I
like,
think I think they do some. I think no, that's like a contest. I think Cedric the Entertainer and them got a contest or something like that, where it's like you could just submit a joke, the joke
yeah,
of the day type of thing. But I don't know, man. Like people, it's weird. It's constantly evolving, but it's not. It's devolving,
it's devolving.
and so
Yeah,
it's going. I think it's gonna go back a little bit. Um,
it
but
has
because
to because if you
because there's
see,
no. Yeah, I was about to say there's nowhere. Where do you go from fucking 5 seconds? You got to go start going back forward.
so dumb, man, it's so dumb.
Just
But think
wait
about it. Like I was
videos.
just talking to somebody. Um, But it's like, like Gladiator 2 is coming out, man. I wouldn't want to watch that at home. I want to go to the theater and like really feel like that's a spectacle movie, man. You want to be in a theater and like really experience that
See, you the
and
opposite of
just so
me.
you can hear Denzel Washington's New York accent in ancient Rome. You
See, you the
know?
opposite of you the opposite of me. When I see a movie like Gladiator 2, I'm like, I want to watch this only at home because this is
Oh, no
probably
distractions.
no, because it's probably gonna be bad because it's a sequel that
Uh,
probably should have came out 20 years ago.
I know.
And
I mean, when I
so
first heard about it, I was like, well, Russell Crowe died in the first one, so
I
okay.
just hope
They're
it's
like,
good.
Ridley
I
Scott,
hope,
we're gonna back up the money truck. We're gonna get out the snow shovels. We're just gonna pile the money on your lawn. Tell us when to stop.
yeah, I'd rather bootleg. Or, I mean, I'm sorry, I'd rather watch all the movies at home that I don't want to see in the movie theater. It's
That's
like
fair.
I went to go see was that Deadpool and Wolverine in the movie theater because I was like, this is gonna be like fun to see or watch or something, an experience to watch
Yeah.
with other people. But then it was like movies I'm not too sure about. It's like, why are they making another one of these? Another Star Wars movie? I think I'll watch it at home.
Oh yeah. There's stuff too where I see a trailer and I'm like, oh, that looks good. And then I'll go and see the movie and I'll just sit there with my soda and I just feel myself like sinking into my chair, going like,
Yeah.
that's the worst experiences when everything in the trailer is the best part of the movie, and then all that cool stuff in the trailer is in the last 20 minutes, and you're just sitting there going like, man, is it time to
Yeah.
get out of here yet? Like that movie, Speak No Evil. It looked so cool. It
Hmm.
looked kind of like The Shining or something. I'm like, all right. And all that cool stuff was in the last 20 minutes of the movie, and it was all set up until then. And I was like, man, I should have just watched this at home, man.
Got your ass.
Oh, Joker 2, the joke's on you.
Oh, that's definitely what they should have called that one. Oh man, but like I think what it is once again, we have the luxury of being able to watch stuff whenever we want and wherever we want. So when you go to the movie theater, your full attention is not even there, and you're not even. I used to be worried about falling asleep and missing the movie, and like I paid for this. Oh my God, I can't see this again. I got to pay for it again and sit through all this shit again. Like now, you like whatever. I'm in this comfy, reclining seat. You in there falling
It's
asleep,
too
farting. You
comfortable,
don't
man.
care.
You just sitting there and you're just like, I'm
You in
waiting
there
for somebody
falling
to
asleep.
poke me in the
You
shoulder
know,
and tell me like they got to clean the theater.
yeah. Now you in there falling asleep in there farting with strangers, and and then you wake up. Next thing you know, you missed the whole movie, and you go home and watch the movie.
Well, I had one embarrassing thing happen, and maybe you've had this because you're in a dark theater, right? And I went to some movie by myself, and I dozed off or whatever during this slow part in the middle, and I woke up and I was like, "Oh man, I just need to get a drink." And then I started drinking my soda, and this lady next to me
It was
goes,
the neighbor.
"Sir, you know that's my soda, right?" And I was like, and she goes, just keep it." I'm like, she just was so watching the movie. She's like, I can't even do, I just can't just keep your whatever your shit is over there.
Oh man, you probably didn't even want to turn her
I
direction for the
know.
rest of the movie. You
And when
like,
the lights came up, she and her husband or whatever, they were just like, and out, like up.
yeah.
And I was like trying to say I'm sorry. And they were like, nope.
They
And
like
then we
this
went here.
nasty motherfucker drinking people's
Like,
drinks.
fuck this clown.
That's
Oh man.
funny. I've
Well,
never had that happen.
oh well, we do have to wrap it up here, man. But I do want
Oh,
to give
so
you a couple
soon.
seconds here, man, and just let people know what's coming up next for you, man, and like where can people find your stuff online?
What's next for me is I'll be hitting the road and touring, doing more shows. So this weekend I'll be in Chicago, and then I'll be back in Indy after that doing some stand-up shows. So
Right
you can
on.
catch me there. And then I just finished a movie called Out the Gate, and that's something that you'll be able to see on Tubi and Amazon Video and Vudu and all those streaming sites. And then I finished another movie called Open to Interpretation, and it's my first lead in which I'm the
Hey,
first lead.
man.
I'm the
Right on.
lead in this comedy movie, and it's really good. I think it's gonna be. I think people gonna laugh at this shit because this is some off the wall shit, and we had a lot of fun filming it, and I'm just excited, and I just however it comes out, man. Like I said, I'm excited for people to see it because I had a lot of fun filming it, so I think it's gonna come out pretty good. You can also see my comedy, or you can follow me online at Go Jason R. GOJASONR, and you'll see the cartoon black guy that looks like this.
Yeah, man. Everybody needs a
So
logo, man. Whatever draws them in, right? Whatever draws them in.
man, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, nobody knows. Nobody
We're
knows.
all
But
just
I do
clutching
know I want
straws,
y'all to add
man.
me
That's
and
right.
and subscribe to my
Yes, please
YouTube.
watch all of Jason's videos. They're
Yeah.
hilarious. I've made short films with this guy. He's made tons of short films. He's working on feature films. He's everywhere. If you have access to the internet, then you have access to Jason Ritchey. So, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been too long, man. Thank you.
Thank you for having me again, Eric, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. You even thinking about me or remembering me and remembering how to spell my name.
You got it. All
All
right. All right, man. You have a good rest of your weekend, man.
right, man. You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.